is to get off of sugar. You got to get off the sugar. You just have to. There we go. Yep, you got to get off the sugar, everybody. That's the first step, I think. Sugar. Get off the sugar. You got that? This is this is the teacher. This is your professor. I talked to my friend today, and I told her the situation going on right now here where I'm at. And I mentioned that I've lost total interest and motivation for anything in this area. I'm done with it, but I want to go south, and it's still about another week. It's still like in the mid-90s on the temperature-wise, and I just really don't want to do it. So I was telling her how much I spend time in my van now. I'm either reading or I'm watching a movie or whatever. And I said, at least I'm not turning to food, you know? Because sometimes when you're really bored or you're just alone, you could just sit and eat. I could just snack away. And her response was, I can't imagine you ever turning to food. Well, let me go into that. I think this has been an issue with a lot of people in their lives. And so I want to share what my experience has been with, food, family and food, growing up with food, raising my children with food, and how I've overcome getting this big. Now, I have talked about this before, so I will mention that I got a few messages both times when I talked about this, and they were very nasty, very negative. So please don't come at me, because I promise, I do not have a negative view of people who are overweight. I really don't. I love them. I mean, why not? I mean, I look for the personality, but I do know, and I will go into it, how it can affect, if you're overweight, how it can affect you. And up here, and in here. So I do want to talk about this, yeah. I do have an app going on. I wanted to share this with you. It's called Naturescape. I've had this for years, and it's still available, and they still they still keep coming up with new ones. So it hasn't, because it's old, they just gave up and it's just some old thing. I've bought in quite a few of these. They're not that expensive. You can get them in collections, or you can just do one by one, like 99 cents per sound. And they're really superior, because what they do is they have people go out. They just don't have short little loops that go over and over and over. Some of the loops are very long. I mean, they don't keep repeating themselves. They're just fabulous. So I really encourage you to look at that. It's called Naturescape. Yeah. I have quite a few. I noticed that I hadn't downloaded a lot of them. So I went ahead right before I did this, because I thought there was somebody with a boombox out here. Then there was somebody with a blower. And I thought, I better put something on. Right now, what do I have on? I have on, it's called Radiance. It's a fire. It's like a fire. It's like out at a fire. Now, I do like trains. I really do. This one, I've got a bunch of different trains. I noticed this one. This is perpetual motion. I'll leave that on for a minute. But there's rivers, and there's beaches, and there's, birds, and different parts. There's a bunch of them that are recorded up in Iceland. They're really nice. So Naturescape, okay? This is what I listen to every night. Well, for as long as I've ever had this, I've put on a nature very softly in the background, and I play it. And this is, it helps me sleep. So let me show you which one that I listen to. Let me do this. This is the one I listen to every night. It's called Sheltered, and it's like you're out in the woods, and you're caught in the rain. They actually have, you should see it. They actually have a description of why it's this sound. They set the tone, and that you find this little shelter out there. It's like a little cabin or something, or like a, I don't know, like you. It's just let me show you what it looks like. Yeah, it's like you found that out, and you run in there and you hide from the rain. But this is my favorite one. We'll play that one. Okay, being overweight. Okay, I have been heavy, not heavy, but I have been bigger in my life. I really have. Always after having a baby, and I've had 4 children. The first one, no. The second one, I put on a few pounds. I was a little bit more set in life, and I was almost, I think I was like 28, and I was a little bit more set. So yeah, and I had a little bit more money in my pocket, and I could buy more food, and yeah. So I did eat. And I was probably about 15 pounds heavier than I am now. And I'm only 5'3", so that means, yeah, 15 pounds is a lot. That's almost like for a tall person to put on 30, 40 pounds, yeah. So, and I didn't take it off right away. Now the third one, I don't know so much. I don't think I really gained much weight there. But the fourth one, yes. After I put on the weight, and not a lot, but you know how you put on weight. Because I nursed every one of my babies. So you need that extra, the fat, you need that extra weight to put it on, and then when you nurse, you kind of take it off. Well, I'll tell you, so I have been heavier, and I have been through a few instances where I would binge eat. Stress, you know, I mean, I'm 71, you can imagine the stress of all the times, all my years. You know, there's been really stressful times, very, very stressful. You know, my husband was in that fatal car accident, and then oh my gosh, yeah. So there were times where I was stressed out, and it wasn't so much like turning to food or whatever, but there were times where I binged ate. I mean, I did. And they weren't good times, and they really didn't do my health any good, okay? But I've come to a point in my life where that's really not anything that would interest me anymore. The feeling, and especially since being a nomad, I have found if I binge eat as a nomad and I'm stuck in my van and because you don't feel good. You just don't feel good afterwards. You feel full. You just don't feel good. Your stomach is a mess. So, and I know that, come on, girls and guys, there may have been times where you didn't stop eating. It was a way you were shoving things in your mouth, in your belly. Okay. So, and I think it's appropriate to talk about this right now, because guess what's coming? Winter. People, usually, I think it is a survival thing. It's innate in us. We tend to eat more in cold weather because what we're doing is we're trying to put on some extra fat. I think that's like innate in humans, right? Well, anyways, so this is appropriate to talk about right now. Excuse me. I'm going to try not to edit this so I can get it up today. I know I've been bored. You'd think that I would have gotten this together, but I didn't think of the subject right away, okay? So I think I want to get this up for you, so I don't want to edit this. Okay, so, but I was brought up with a heavy mother. I've mentioned this before. The women in my immediate family that I grew up with, I'm going to include my mother, and then eventually my 2 sisters, and then my oldest sister's nieces, or they would be my nieces, her daughters. Huge. my mom wasn't huge. Not like my nieces and my sisters turned out to be. Oh my gosh. My mom was heavy. She was more heavy on the top. I take after my dad. I really do. Physically wise, I take more after my dad. But she was more top heavy. You know, she didn't have like these big fat legs or anything, but she was just more top heavy. She had a belly. She was gorgeous when she was young. I got the pictures to prove it. She was gorgeous. She was blonde. She really was blonde. And she was the cutest thing. She was really a good looker. Oh yeah. But she met my dad, and she had a baby, my oldest sister. Well, after that, she had a big belly. She never exercised. I think women back then didn't overly exercise. I don't remember women going to the gym in the 40s and the 50s, you know. I don't remember them doing that. They stayed home. And I've seen a lot of pictures of the women. They had this big belly. They wore dresses, and they had this big belly. And that, not all of them, oh my gosh. But my mom was heavy. And of course, a lot of my friends, their mothers weren't heavy. Going to school, you know, no, they were. So, yeah, I had a heavy mother. I did. She was a good cook. She was a wonderful wife. My mom and my dad were like peas and carrots. I don't remember them. I am going to be real serious. I don't remember them arguing in any kind of a bad way. Oh, they'd have disagreements, but they would more laugh about it. And of course, my mom would roll her eyes, and of course, my dad would laugh about it and laugh it off. But he would stick to his guns, you know. It's like, yeah, okay. But they didn't, like, there wasn't screaming and arguing. Any screaming going on was my mom when my dad wasn't home yelling at us kids. So let me go into that aspect of having a heavy mother. I do not believe that she was happy. I just do not believe she was a happy person for the long haul. She was, I don't want to paint a bad picture of her. I really don't, because she taught me a lot. She sewed, she cooked, she kept a really good house. She really did. But I don't believe she was inner-wise that she was happy. She would never admit it. She would never admit that she didn't like being heavy, but I don't think she was really happy with that. I really don't. And I think it made her pretty grumpy. And she took it out on us. She didn't beat us, but she yelled at us, you know? But she did have really good qualities. She really did. And she wasn't mad all the time. But I do remember, I know that it had to have been a big deal, because I do remember looking back that coming home from school, you didn't know what kind of mood she'd be in. You just like, I hope she's in a good mood. Yeah, I hope she's in a good mood. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't believe she was happy, and I do believe that her weight had something to do with it. Now, how else did it affect me? Well, she was kind of grumpy. But, you know, I remember a couple of neighbor kids and stuff would make fun of me, and because of her. So there was that. And I really hate to even say that. But I wonder how many of you had to go through that. You know, it can't just be me that felt that. It's like if you had a heavy mother, or any kind of, I suppose you could have an alcoholic mother, and the neighbor kids or your friends would not want to come over, or, you know, to make fun of your mom, right? It could be your dad, but your mom is really an important figure in this when it comes to children. The moms are the ones that get blamed. The moms are the ones who, you know, if things go wrong, well, you know, the mother didn't, do her job. Well, back then the mother really did take care of the children. I think it's the same now, okay? Let me see if I have any sips of, I'd share it, but it's probably down to here. Coffee, my second cup. So anyways, Was I heavy as a child? I was a little, like in my senior year, I think I was a little chunky. I really was. I really was. Not like, I know Maxie always says, oh, you were probably a cheerleader when you're... No, I wasn't. I was not a cheerleader, okay? I was not. The school that I went to, cheerleading was on ability, and I really never went into gymnastics, tumbling, things like that. So the girls who were the cheerleaders, they weren't just so gorgeous, but they really did have the ability. They could do the jumps and the flips, and I couldn't, I did try for cheerleading, just didn't make it. I didn't have that ability. Okay. Well, I was more into dancing and things like that, not tumbling. Well, anyways, so why am I talking about this? Well, I have worked hard at not being overweight. I don't want to eat a lot of food. It doesn't make me feel good. And like I said, being in a van, it is no fun. Being binge eating or eating too much food inside of a small area. Yeah, that's not always fun. And in case you didn't know, I'm Minivan Lee, and I've lived in my van for it's going on 8 years now that I've lived in a minivan. And isn't it beautiful? I love my van. Well, I've been actually spending a lot of time in it, so I've been doing a lot of different things. When I get to Tucson, I'm going to redo some things. So that's for another time, okay? Okay, food. I have come, when I said to my friend, well, at least I'm not turning to food. No, I couldn't imagine anymore eating a bunch of sweets. And another thing that is so funny is that I was watching a Dr. Phil show. I don't know if you know, but on Prime Video, they have, if you look at the top on my phone, you look at the top, and on the right it says Live TV or TV Live, I'm not sure. If you click that, it'll show all of these new channels. They're free. The Dr. Phil channel, Judge Judy channel, she's a riot. I am learning so much about about the law, right? And then just all kinds of stuff. The Best of Ed Sullivan, Alfred Hitchcock. There's a survival channel now. They just keep running one right after the other, season after season after season. I don't usually watch that. But I did see a Dr. Phil this morning. The heaviest woman in the Guinness Book of World Records. And maybe some of you have ever seen that. She got up to 720 pounds, something like that. And he was going to help her. She doesn't fit in a car, so they had to get an ambulance, and he paid for it, Dr. Phil, to bring her out from, I think she was only in Northern California, to bring her to LA. But she had to ride in an ambulance because, yeah. Anyways, so it's kind of been on my mind. Just today seems to be the topic of being heavy. Now, how about my sisters? Well, my second sister was kind of thin most of her life, but when she became about 17, she started putting on the weight. She was in the service for a while, and after that, even now, she's had hip replacements. Well, she's, I think she'd be about 76 now, 77, but she's had hip replacements, knee replacements, and she's huge. She's huge. My oldest sister was always a little bit, we always had built like a brick house, you know what I mean? Okay. She was pretty good looking. Red hair, But I saw a picture of her about 2-3 years before she passed away. And I think she ate herself to death. I will say that. I think she did. Nobody would say that in the family. A lot of people in my family, me and my brother was about 3 years older than me. And we were the only ones that seemed to want to tell the truth. we would confront it. We were more from the 60s. We would be like, well, let's bring this out in the open, But I never really said anything. They were in Ohio. I was here in Arizona. And I just let them live their lives there. And I was living mine with my children. And I will mention that nobody in my family, my children, are heavy. They're not heavy. So, yeah. So I guess I taught them good habits. You know, it's always good to model behavior, right? And my point is, I had to fight that modeling. All my life, I had to fight it. When I lived in a house, I was a baker, and I cooked a lot. And I remember people would ask me, why aren't you bigger if you were just cooking all that food? Well, I would cook it, but then I would put it in the freezer. It didn't mean that I was going to just eat it all. If I made a pie, I would cut it, wrap it in saran, and get it nice and cold, and then wrap it in saran wrap, and then put them in a bigger bag and put it in the freezer. If I wanted a piece of pie, I could go up and get it. But it didn't mean every day I ate a piece of pie. You know what I'm saying? So my sister, when I saw a picture of her, didn't recognize her. I'm serious. She probably was up to I'll say 300 pounds. And she was taller than I am. So maybe even more. I mean, maybe more. I don't know. But then about 3 years later, she came up with liver cancer. Well, I do remember seeing the show, remember Super Size Me? Remember just a month worth of eating the McDonald's? The doctor told him that he really should quit for this documentary, quit this experiment, because his liver was becoming pickled. And my sister was not a drinker. She wasn't, none of in my family were drinkers. My parents weren't drinkers. But, yeah, she died of liver cancer. So, I don't know. It just never seemed to be, I knew the as high as I could go, and then I would lose it again, right? But I'm at the point, I'm going to tell you where I'm at right now. I'm at the point right now where there's no sugar in my diet anymore. And I'm not eating anything that I believe is GMO, right? So I don't want to, so that means a lot of bread, grains, corn. I eat rice every once in a while. Or, any kind of grains like that. No oats. I've heard people say oatmeal. Actually, they say that oatmeal really isn't that great for you. So I'll let you decide that for yourself. But I've read stuff about that. That said it's really not good for our body. Our body doesn't, and a lot of it's GMO anyways. So they say that all that glyphosate, that our body doesn't know what to do with it. So it just sits there. It works hard, but our body considers glyphosate that's in most of our foods now as a foreign object. And it hurts our immune system because our immune system's trying to attack it. So I don't eat a lot of those grains right now. So what am I eating now? I'm eating a lot of chicken. What I've been doing, just while I'm still here, when I get to Tucson, my diet is going to totally change because I'll have more available to me in there. But here, what I've been doing is going into Walmart once every other day and getting myself a rotisserie chicken. It's a hot meal, and it's like $6.50. I mean, I can't go to a restaurant for that. And I get the whole chicken as I want it. So what I did was, let me turn this around because I don't want to edit this. What I did, I told you that I had kind of changed a few things. So this is what I changed. I got my Jackery here. What I did, and I've got towels over it to keep it. I got myself a little cooler, $12. Well, $12 and some cents. And the ice is only $1.88, and I can keep some ice in here for 2 days. So I can get a rotisserie chicken, eat what I want, pick the rest apart, put it in little baggies, and put it in here. And I've been buying some mayo that I could but I got some organic avocado oil mayo. It's different, but I'm trying to not eat anything with, let me fix this, with a lot of chemicals in it. I don't want the chemicals in my body anymore. I don't want the glycosates, the GMOs. I don't want the sugar that's going to spike my insulin. And I don't want a lot of chemicals. So here's what I've been doing. I've mainly been eating protein right now. I got some nice eggs. Let me cover this back up. I got myself some nice eggs. They're expensive, but I mean, for 12 eggs, it's not bad. And the eggs last me a lot longer than, let me just cover that a little bit. The eggs last a lot longer than just buying a chicken, you know. The eggs can last me like 3, 4, 5 meals. But that's what I've been eating. I'm waiting to get to Tucson because I want to get to the stores that I know that don't use that Apeel, APEEL, that's being sprayed on the veggies and things like that. I don't want to get that. I just really don't. I don't want toxins in my body anymore. And I mean, they're already raining down with chemtrails, and they're raining metals on top of us and stuff. So I'm trying to be as careful as I can with what I eat. So for me to be bored, getting back to the getting, big, for me to sit there and say, well, I'm really bored, so I'm going to go eat. Oh, that is the furthest thing from my mind. I'm eating. Protein is keeping me very, very full. What else am I? Oh, I do get some Honeycrisp apples. About every other day I'm eating an apple. And I take the peeling off, and an avocado. So apple, avocado. I do have part of an onion in here. I've been frying an onion with some garlic so I can get something else, a little bit of fiber going through. But everything seems to be working fine I'm mainly eating the chicken right now for another week, and then I'll be in Tucson and everything will be copacetic again. Yeah. But for me to sit there, because I'm bored here and I'm done with Flagstaff. I'm just waiting for the heat to go away south, I'm not turning to food. And I talked to another friend about this. So I guess to toot my own horn, I don't do drugs. I don't smoke pot or anything like that. Even though it's legal, I don't drink. I don't drink at all. And I don't smoke. And I don't eat junk. Oh gosh, I don't eat junk at all. Going into like a Walmart, I don't even go down some of the aisles because I know what they are. There's nothing I want there. There's nothing. I haven't had any chips, any candy, any, even some of the dressings, there's toxins and poisons in it. Oh my gosh. So overeating and eating crappy food is way beyond anything that I would do at this point. Let me turn around here. There we go. Oh, we got a boom box. Yeah. Hope you don't mind me just me going through all of this with you, turning cameras and stuff. I just don't want to edit it. Is that okay? Just for once, I just really don't want to edit right now. I just want to get this information out to you, and I'm just sharing part of my life and what's been going on in my life. And this heavy thing, seeing that on Dr. Phil, talking to my friend about being overweight, and it really brought up some memory, and I thought I would share it with you. I do not look down on overweight people. I don't look down on them at all. I look at people's personality. I look at their heart and their personality. But here's where I'm at. they don't feel good. I feel bad for them because they don't feel good. And it seems to be, it's like an addiction. When I mention that I don't smoke and I, at this point, do not have any addictions. And I was talking to my friend, another friend, and we were talking about it, and he said, well, what about exercise? You seem to exercise a lot. Actually, I haven't been exercising much at all. And I mentioned that that's not an addiction. I don't really like to do it. It's not like, oh, gotta go to the gym, I'm gonna pump up and I have to do it, No, that's really not even addiction. That's like I have to make myself do it. I honestly do. But I know it's good for me, so I'm anxious to get out of here. I have lost motivation right now. I have lost all motivation right here where I'm at. I'm really tired of this place. It's really pretty now, though, because the mountains have snow on them. Yeah, it's pretty cold. So, well, that's my story. I don't know if this was helpful to anybody, but this is what I've been eating. I've heard some people are eating nothing but protein and they feel so good. And I actually have to say, I've been feeling really good. I mean, seriously, I do feel good. I'm bored, but I do feel good. And I'm raring to go. I can't wait to go south so I can get to the parks and just see all different things, right? So I hope this was helpful. Oh, that is the worst looking RV. Oh my God. Did you see that? Oh my gosh. So by the way, most nomads have left. Flagstaff, they're gone. I'm one of the few living in a minivan. There's some RVs here and there, but as far as minivans, I think most people are gone. Every time I drive around, I don't see any of the old people at the gyms or anything. I think they're gone. I just wanted to show you that. It's like, ugh. It looks like probably mold growing on the inside of it. It's really decrepit. But if I have any advice for you, get off the sugar. Get off of sugar. Any kind of sugar, all sugar. Get it. It's going to hurt for a while. It'll hurt for a good week, I bet. But get off of it. Get off of all sugar. Do not eat sugar. And if you want to really eat clean, if you want to really start eating clean and you want to be full longer, I would go with the protein. I would go with it. I don't know how well the chickens are in the Walmarts. I mean, I was thinking probably a lot of them are pumped with antibiotics, the chickens. I know they're not organic chickens, but things will change when I get to Tucson. I'm putting up with it right now. But my back itches. My back itches. There we go. Get my back scratcher, right? But yeah, your first step. Your first step, I think, is to get off of sugar. You got to get off the sugar. You just have to. There we go. Yep, you got to get off the sugar, everybody. That's the first step, I think. Sugar. Get off the sugar. You got that? This is this is the teacher. This is your professor. No, seriously, I really do mean that. Get off the sugar and start looking, and especially if you're corn syrup. Oh my gosh, get off the soda. It sounds like get off the sofa, right? Get up off the couch. Get up off the couch and get off the soda. You got to stop drinking soda and all the fruit juices. It's sugar. I saw this video, this little short, a reel, and it showed how they showed them actually making the juices. It's gross. I mean, we have this thing, they're squeezing the oranges out and they're squeezing the grape juice and everything. No, they're just putting these vats. It's in this big vat and they're just putting, bleh. Black. Okay, so that's my message for today. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just not much of an eater. I'm not much addicted to anything. I just, food doesn't have the same draw that it used to for me. It just doesn't. So, I hope that, like I said before, I hope this was helpful. So I will end it now. Okay, so please subscribe and give me a thumbs up, okay? I will see you tomorrow. I will. And I'll have something else to talk about. I do have a few subjects I do want to talk about. So, you guys have a really good day. Get off the sugar. Got that? Okay. Bye.